Hey y'all, Sunshine 1979. I guess I'm gonna do a police series because this morning this is the second police involved child case, true crime, murder case, abuse, neglect, the whole genre that I found this morning. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the video. You guys know Isaiah, not one of my favorites. He's graphic, but he's to the point, and that's why we're here, is to the point. So, as always, guys, thanks for watching. Remember, hit that thumbs up, it helps. Subscribe, like, and share the videos. Share on your social media. That's the reason why we do this, is to get these stories out there. Alright, guys, here we go. This is in Pensacola, Florida. Get ready for it, because this one's another doozy, and I'm going to move over here out of the way.
The Isaiah Factor Uncensored starts right now.
And welcome to The Factor Uncensored. On this Friday night, we start with an unbelievable case out of Florida, where one police department is under investigation after a baby was said to have been seriously hurt while in their custody, in their care. Take a look. This is what the baby's family says happened to their 1-year-old while sitting in the back of a police car with police officers. News outlets there report the baby and his 3-year-old brother were in the car, while the SWAT team was dealing with his father, who was not the target of the initial investigation and no criminal record or history. Tonight, the family joins The Factor to tell us what happened from Pensacola, Florida.
I received a phone call that morning from one of his family members saying that I needed to come there to get the kids. They didn't give me any details on why. They just told me that I needed to come there. So I left immediately. I was on my way. About 10 minutes later, I received another phone call saying that my son was injured. My 1-year-old was injured, and that his face was bloody, and that I needed to get there quick. So at this point, I'm frantic. When I arrived at the scene, I saw caution tape all over the place. So many officers, and I'm just looking for my children. So I'm asking everybody around, where's my kids? Where's my kids? And when I saw my 1-year-old, his face was unrecognizable. Did not look at all like himself.
And as a mother, what did that do to you, seeing your baby like that? 1-year-old, right?
I was devastated. I was angry. I had so many emotions, knowing that I wasn't there was nothing that I could have done to prevent it. It's indescribable, honestly.
And Mr. Brian and Mr. Reeves, tell us exactly what you guys know happened to that child in police custody.
What I can tell you from this comes from their son, Keon, who was the witness to seeing his little brother fall. Essentially, Keon said he was sitting in the back seat of the police vehicle with an officer and his little brother. His little brother was being held by the police officer. When the police officer opened the door to the vehicle, he dropped little Kylan directly on his face, and it hit the asphalt. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
And Mr. Reeves, take us back to the beginning really quick. Why were police there at the house anyway?
From my understanding, they were at the house to execute a search warrant looking for digital evidence and maybe clothing. But there was nothing related to our client, Mr. Corey Marino. He was not a part of the investigation at all at that point.
And so they came into the house, I think, at 5 a.m. We're talking about SWAT, right?
Yes, SWAT team. My client describes 25 officers to execute a search warrant around 4:30 a.m. And really, there was no opportunity for him to know that the police was outside his door in the middle of the night.
So they barged into the house. Do we know if this was a knock or a no-knock warrant?
This was a knock warrant. This was a knock warrant. It wasn't a no-knock warrant. However, the time length that they took to enter the home, it was very clear they did not want Mr. Marino to have any notice that they were coming in the home.
And then we're talking about 4 or 5 in the morning, right?
Correct.
And so he thought these were intruders. Is that my understanding, Mr. Bryan?
Yeah. So, and to touch a little bit on what Mr. Reeves was saying, the Pensacola Police has a policy which essentially says this: before you enter into a home, you have to wait 15 seconds after you knock and announce. In this instance, it's alleged, and we still don't even know if this is true, but it's alleged that they knocked and announced. However, in their own police report, they identified that they waited 10 seconds, which is completely in violation of their policy. So at that moment in time, at 4:30 in the morning, 4:45 in the morning, Mr. Marino, who is with his 1-year-old and his 3-year-old baby, he hears a boom at his door. He again thinks it's an intruder, and he did what every single American who is a registered firearm owner would have done with their babies in the home at 4:30. He fired a shot when that door busted open, and that was absolutely legal. It is within the Castle Doctrine in the state of Florida, and he had a right to defend his family.
Now, they have not, as of yet, filed charges against Mr. Marino, right? And anyone can chime in and answer.
As of right now, there's no charges that have been filed. When I last was in touch with the prosecutor, they told me to give a 2-week decision and we'll have an answer. But we're trying to apply pressure as much as we can to make sure that they know any charges would be unjust in this situation.
Now, is there an internal investigation underway at the Pensacola Police Department?
There is an internal investigation as it relates to the injuries to Kyle. They are trying to figure out what happened. Part of the reason why they investigated this matter is because the emergency services who had come to actually treat Kyle eventually had a report that said that he only had a few bumps and bruises, and that the Pensacola Police Department had canceled them from taking him to the emergency room. But when Ms. Dixon actually arrived at the scene and she saw her son, as she described before, he was unrecognizable. He had serious head injuries. I mean, this is a child that was dropped probably at least 1 or 2 feet off the ground and landing on the concrete.
On his face.
On his face. As you could see the pictures, he had a busted nose, busted mouth, severe bruising all over his forehead, and this was after he was cleaned up. When Ms. Dixon got him, even though EMS had arrived, little Kyron's face was absolutely completely covered in blood. And they tried to dissuade her from bringing him to the emergency room when she said, "I need to take my child right away." And so therefore, I think Pensacola Police Department opened up an investigation to determine how on earth this could have happened, and what did they do after the baby was injured in order to provide adequate medical care, which we claim they did not do.
And Ms. Dixon, if you're able to say, what did they tell you when they tried to dissuade you from taking your child to the hospital?
I was told by 3 different officers at once that he leaned on the door, and when he leaned on the door, he opened it and fell out.
But I mean, what did they say to you to try to convince you not to take your child to the hospital?
When I said, but before I even had a chance to say, I'm going to take him, they said, he leaned on the door, fell out, but no, he's okay. We had someone come and check him out. He's okay. Don't take him to the hospital. Make sure you don't take him, because someone already looked at him. He's fine.
So, Reverend Timothy May, why did you think it was important to get as much attention to this story as possible?
Well, you know, we see these things happen all the time, especially in communities of color, where there's no knock, or these incidents with police officers that go in, renegade, and do whatever they want to our community, our children, our young men and young ladies, and it goes unnoticed. And I just, you know, these things have to be announced. They have to be vocalized. They have to be articulated. They have to be voiced so that not just Moya and Corey, but other young people of color across the country can know that this is not acceptable, and we will stand against these injustices. And it's very important that whether it's in Chicago, New York, but here in Pensacola, that we vocalize that these are not circumstances that are okay, and will not go away silently while you mistreat our young people at the hands of bad police.
Now, has there been or any thought of civil action in this case?
Yes, absolutely. As it first relates to the children, and that's what we're really focusing on, the civil action for the children at this point. We're going to be filing both state and federal claims. The state claims are going to be related to the injuries that both the boys suffered, the physical and emotional injuries suffered by Kylan, and the emotional injuries suffered by Kayon, who saw his brother injured. Secondly, we plan on filing a 1983 action for failure to render adequate assistance, medical assistance to a person who's in police custody. The children were in police custody at the time when Kylan was injured. Not only did they not provide him with adequate medical attention, but they attempted to prevent him from actually getting the adequate medical attention he needs. So we plan on filing a federal action, which will include both state and federal claims.
And Ms. Dixon, ultimately as a mother, what do you want to see happen in this case, both civilly and with the internal investigation at the Pensacola, Florida Police Department?
I want them to lose their jobs and to pay for what I would have had to pay for if I'd done that to my child, or if that happened when he was in my care.
Only reasonable from a mother. We thank you, and we thank you all for joining us here on The Factor Uncensored, and we'll continue to follow this story in Florida. Thank you all.
And of course, as I just said, there is an internal investigation underway at the Pensacola Police Department surrounding this case. And a reminder, the father has not been charged with the crime as of yet.
Okay, so the father hasn't been charged as a crime as of the time and date of this video, which was 4/5/2022. And I did find the internal affairs. Sorry, guys. So I'm going to pull that up. So, you follow my channel, you know how I feel about ads. And we're back.
Tonight, Pensacola Police Department says they've launched an internal affairs investigation into a child parents say was hurt while in police custody.
This happened after officers executed a search warrant at the father's home nearly a week ago. The two children were inside that home. The family says the father shot at officers because he feared that the officers were intruders.
Channel 5's Olivia Iverson has been on the story since the beginning, and today she sat down with that mother. Olivia?
Good evening, Bob. That mother tells me she co-parents with that man police arrested last week. She wants to know how her baby boy was injured in the hands of the police. In fact, after I took her concerns to the police department, they backed out of my interview scheduled with the chief on Friday and announced that internal investigation. Today, she sat down with me telling their story for the first time since that raid.
At 5 o'clock in the morning, Kayon and Kylan were asleep with their dad at their Pensacola home. Their mother, Moya Dixon, tells me she was also asleep at her home.
I was waking up by a phone call.
Family eventually told her what they knew. The father, Corey Marino, exchanged gunfire with police. Feelings turned frantic when family told her about her 1-year-old.
I get in my car with my baby, and I get my baby and I see his face, and it's almost unrecognizable.
This picture shows his nose and lip swollen, a scrape on his lip, scratches on his nose, and several bumps on his forehead.
What were you thinking at the time?
Who did this?
Monday, the department told us the kids were in the back seat of a car with an investigator. PPD says the investigator got out. When they returned, PPD says the investigator didn't notice the child leaning on the door. When that person opened it, police say the child fell out. Escambia County tells me they were called out at 6:40 for a hemorrhage and laceration on a toddler. They arrived 6 minutes later. The county couldn't tell me what EMS saw and said, but say the call was canceled 20 minutes later. Police tell both us and the county EMS checked the child out and released him to the family. They didn't bring her son to the hospital, so she did. Dozens of pages of paperwork from the hospital document his injuries after CAT scans and x-rays. She claims the Florida Department of Children and Families is investigating. I asked DCF, who says they're still working to get me information.
What would you say if the police department was sitting here right now? How could you?
We brought her questions to police Wednesday. Exactly 1 hour after we left from our interview, PPD told us they couldn't answer them because the department launched an internal affairs investigation. In fact, police called off our interview with Chief Eric Randall, set for Friday. Instead, he met with her in person right after our interview. She says the chief apologized and promised to investigate what happened.
It's been very disturbing, overwhelming, not knowing the truth of what happened to my 1-year-old. My 3-year-old is traumatized. He keeps having to tell the story of what his 3-year-old brain can comprehend of what happened to his baby brother. That is horrifying.
And their father, Corey, also left traumatized. He wasn't ready to talk on camera with her. Corey still faces an attempted murder charge, which he lost his job over.
On top of all of his charges, he has to also think, now somebody hurt my baby.
Corey doesn't have a criminal record, and PPD says he is not a suspect in the January shooting investigation that led police to his house. Moya tells me she has no idea why police would want information from his home. All his family wants is answers. What led them to the house, and how their baby boy ended up injured in police custody.
Now, I did ask her whether they plan to take any legal action in this case, but Moya tells me they are busy simply trying to figure out the simple things like where they're going to sleep at night. On top of everything, she says they do not live at that house anymore because they don't feel safe. The door that police broke down that day will not lock. I'll continue to keep a close eye on this story, and if there's any updates, I'll bring you those here on air as well as on our website. Live in the newsroom, Olivia Iverson, Channel 3 News.
Okay, so there's photos, so we'll take a look at the photos. Sometimes the articles read a little bit differently than what you see in the video. That's why I was checking that out. I grabbed this thing too. It's Twitter. And you guys can go on my Twitter and grab this and retweet it. Let's throw this in. Twitter. Alright, guys. So that was my police find this morning. And guys, like, share, and subscribe. Go hit up this Twitter. Share this Twitter post. Share it on your Facebook, your social media. You guys follow my channel. The earlier video I did, I actually mentioned the minorities not getting the attention in social media and in national media like they should be. So let's do our part. Be an army for the voices. Be this baby's voice. These police officers need to be held accountable. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, and share.